The Zone Coverage Podcast Network.
The Andy Luke and Aree football machine.
Autobots, transform! I like this kind of party!
Straight cash, homie.
Starts now.
Rolling.
No, leave the voice crack in there.
Yeah, no.
Because today, my son, you become a man. Shmuel. Welcome back to Thunderdome for another Zone Coverage Football Machine, Zone Coverage Podcast Network. Our not so humble host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show on the Twitter machine. And I have actually more active than Stephon Diggs spending 15 dimes on a Starbucks necklace that will become the Vikings turnover chain. I want to make this happen.
Wow, that makes sense.
I do want a turnover chain. Something, whatever. Is it Miami?
Yeah.
Coolest thing. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Coolest thing I've ever seen.
A lot of college teams have.
It's one of my favorite things in football right now.
They haven't taken the chain. They've taken like the turnover object concept and have like
the chair. I think the chair is incredible.
I forget which
the throne.
The throne is incredible.
That might be the only other one that I like.
Who does that?
I forget.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Some school does like the World Wrestling championship.
I love that too.
Okay, that's good too.
I like that.
Most of them suck though. The bag, that one's bad.
Yeah.
Like it's basically a turnover backpack, but it's like secure the bag, and they give him like a Gucci backpack, and it's like what? But you look like a child,
right? And you also just got suspended for 2
now. Also, since it's college football, you know what they should do? They have the turnover two meal hall credits.
Yeah,
because they can't.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, because I like everyone's again at Southern Ohio. It's like college football, it's better than the NFL. And then see, you always have this fallback moral high ground situation. It's like, oh, so you like indentured servitude, huh?
I think Yinka's here. He told the group chat that we're not in. Cool.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll go get Yinka.
Joining me, as always, Tom Schreier working the board as he goes and gets Yinka.
Bye.
Also, Arif Hassan, NFL of Z Athletic. How's it going?
Do you think Teddy's voice is ever cracked while doing a hard count?
Maybe. Nah, he's had that silky smooth, like Barry White adjacent voice.
But I mean, like ever. I don't mean like in the NFL, but like
probably at Louisville.
I could see it. It feels like it would have happened.
Yeah, at Louisville, as a true sophomore, when he was running his own offense and making his own calls at the line, I'm sure it's cracked a couple times. Yeah. 280. And then he cooked like Central Florida or Toledo, whoever's in the All-American Conference this week. Yeah. When does Maction start?
Probably soon. Probably not next week, but the week after. I bet.
We're all over the place. But
Hi,
Luke Inman, Luke_Spin, man.
Hey, guys. Hey, how you doing, man?
Yeah.
Good. Just getting a little work done over here.
What are you working on?
Tweeting.
Yeah.
Just, tweeting.
I don't know. I like that Xavier Rhodes piece, so I was just talking to Jerry about that. Hopefully we'll get a Jerry and Chad call as it's Viking Packer week this week.
Speaking of tweeting, so social media has become like a part of working in the media. I forget who it was, but one of the sideline reporters on the Monday night game, she didn't have a Twitter handle.
Oh, damn.
So,
crazy.
Where they list the Twitter handle just like NFL, ESPN. So it's like, how do you do this?
Not do that?
Yeah.
I could, what you said, Susie Colbert?
It was Susie Colbert. It was someone young. Yeah, it was like a young sideline reporter. Yeah, name escapes me, but it's
probably
weird.
a good move, honestly.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's super weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be in a mode with that. Like, that doesn't make sense. But, yeah, it's probably the right move.
Yeah, because, I mean, I have a Twitter account. It's a lot of fun. But also, it's like, if you're a public figure like that, there's no upside. Like, what are you going to do? It's like, oh, they're going to search back 2008 and find something out of context that's like, racist. Fire her. Probably.
I mean, it might be in context, too. I mean, let's not kid ourselves.
Stupid Norm Macdonald. But, have a lot to talk about. We got Vikings 24.
I didn't even know there was a reference to
Niners.
Norm Macdonald, given how often this all happens.
Yeah, Niners 16. News happens fast and furious.
Dang, looking fresh, man.
Something's not fast and furious. Yinka.
Let him grab his mic.
But, see, I know why Yinka's late today because...
No, he's got
a headset somewhere.
Is it on the ground? Is it...
follow the course.
It's literally under this.
Yeah.
Who's producing?
No, but see, I know why Yinka's late today because it looks like he stopped home to change. Because he doesn't look like a Bible salesman today. He's wearing the sweats. He's wearing the zone coverage Under Armour because this ain't a Nike shop around here.
Okay, so then explain why he's been late every other time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yinka, nobody can hear you. You don't get the headset
Right.
on.
Yeah.
Off with his head! No, I didn't get to say what I needed. Off with his head!
Wow, Yinka has no response. That's crazy, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's crazy how that.
Time to fire him.
I don't want to go too off the tangent here, but Game of
it's already too
Thrones.
late.
Anybody Game of Thrones?
Oh, yeah. No.
I'm going back for round 2 because I know the last season, incredible.
Yeah.
It's coming out, in April?
It's
coming out?
I thought it was like.
I'm not
So
gonna
you're out?
ask on
You're
this.
out?
Yeah.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen season 5.
What are you
It gets so.
man?
If you invested the time to watch seasons
Why?
1 and 2,
It's emotionally draining to watch.
It is.
that's a fair answer. It's actually really draining.
It's like watching the second half
and now,
of Packers
and now it's
Bears.
going to be like 10 movies. Man, I can't watch 10 movies.
You can, and you will.
watch more than 10 movies in your life.
And not like as a season. This is too much, man.
Week to week, that's watching one movie a week for 10 weeks.
I already watch a movie a week, man. I don't.
How many times did you just watch it once?
All the way through?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only done it all the way through.
But you've watched the whole thing.
I
I'm gonna replace my
rewatched.
normal
So basically,
movie.
what it was back when it was just finishing season 3. I rewatched 1 through 3 because I got Kunle on to watching it and a few other people. So
Tell you what, first 2 seasons, man, I had to power through it and struggle,
you
man,
have
because
to.
it is tough.
It's hard. It's hard because you have to get all the names, all the houses.
It's almost like
This
don't
is
even
what
try.
I mean, man. Like,
But
But
I'm
you're
saying
in season 5
but
though.
you put in all that time and work. It's the first 2 seasons that I thought were a struggle and grind. Now you get to pay off. I mean, really, all that time you got to put in.
Every season. Has
Season got better and better, and I think this last season.
disagree, by the way.
What season do you think was worse or better than?
Season
Not
4 is not
crescendoing.
nearly as good as season 2.
Tom, tell us about what's going down at zonecoverage.com.
Yeah, we're still covering the Twins, even as
Why?
actually they beat the Yankees. They beat the Yankees for the
That's
first
why
time in
'cause
9
they beat
games.
the Yankees.
Joe Mauer, is
Joe
that his
Mauer-
first career Grand Slam?
It is not. I think it's something like his 5th.
Hey, Mazel Tov.
Yeah, no.
Straightaway center too.
Yeah, straightaway
It's bad
center.
that we didn't remember the other 4.
Yeah, I'm trying, and I think he's only had like 2 walk-offs. He had one
Yep.
last year, but yeah, we're talking about the opener concept. Sam still doing his daily Vikings. In fact, he's got 2 Vikings pieces a day. And Dane Moore, anything you need to know about the Timberwolves, that whole dynamic.
Okay.
We got Dane Moore on that. Dane's doing a great job on the Luol Deng signing latest ex-Bowl to join the
Awesome.
Minnesota Timberwolves. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff.
And of course, $2.99 per month, which is which is less than 3 items off the McDonald's dollar menu. 'Cause
And we
that's
won't
3
short you
and
like we
tax.
shorted Zim.
Yeah. Get you all of that great goodness. All right, so let's hop into Niners recap. So Vikings 24, Niners 16 in. Luke and I were talking this before the show. In a game where a lot of things go right, a lot of big game-changing plays, and you still win only by 1 score. Seems kind of odd. But gents, overall impressions on the opener.
Well, yeah, I'll just step off that. I mean, just real quick snapshot. Hey, they looked good in a lot of different facets. We know their biggest weakness is the offensive line, so take that whole unit with a grain of salt. I thought Riley Reif, though, for the most part, played a really solid game from top to bottom. I mean, one of the better.
But Tom Compton played a very good game there.
According to PFF, he was the number 1 ranked player, but I just don't see that necessarily. But created some turnovers. The pressure was unbelievable. You really see how much of a home field advantage they're going to have the rest of the way. And I think, honestly, I predicted this when we were all doing our full season predictions. 8-0 at home. Don't think it's unrealistic. I say 7-1. You know, you kind of have one goof up game in the mix. On the road, we've seen the road schedule. 4-4 is honestly what I'm hoping for. 3-5, I don't think is that unrealistic. Still get you in the playoffs because again, I think that home field advantage is unbelievable. But stemming off what you mentioned. Had 3 interceptions, 1 for a pick 6. You brought up the George Kittle drop pass.
Luke, Mike Hughes is kind of trash. I mean, Jimmy G just handed that ball to him. So
don't mind all the
slow
pressure.
it down here. Yeah,
don't mind the great disguise pressure, what it looked like pressure coming from the right side and then ended up coming from the left. But
JJ Ron.
And then the other thing, you know, that play to knock that ball out of there at the 1 yard line, all those big plays, still only win by 1 possession at home. game seemed like one of those games that DiFilippo, I really liked the way he called the game, but I also think that he could have really went for the jugular, and Kirk Cousins could have had a monster stat performance. They could have put up. This seemed like this could have been one of those 38-10 type of games at home. Do you remember the Texan game 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Marcus Sherrills took one. Patterson had one. Thielen had one. It seemed like they could have dominated box score wise a little bit better.
Do you think that he's been instructed not to go nuts with the offense if he has the lead?
No, Tom, he's bad. And once it got away from scripted plays, he got very uncreative. Fired JDF.
Oh, man. Wow.
He's a fake flip. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we did learn that Zimmer had a not directive, but a strongly worded suggestion to JDF about the 2-minute drill, which was ultimately unsuccessful.
Yeah.
And
back it up a little bit. I don't want to send Carlson out there.
Yeah, right. And Zimmer mentioned that, I think he mentioned that he kind of regretted it because he said we didn't want to give the ball away before the half, and I think he said something else. And that might have impacted Flip's play calling. And it's weird to call him Flip.
Can we though? Can we just call him Flip?
No,
I don't want it. There's already a Minnesota Flip.
Yeah,
I can't.
JDF or fake flip.
How did that start? Flip for DiFilippo? Like, was that?
How do you think it
I
started?
mean, was it universal or did someone?
Well, John was in fourth
No,
grade.
it's not. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's not a thing unique to here. I mean, they call him Coach Flip
Okay.
in Philly and in Cleveland. But yeah, I can't do it unless if I say Coach Flip, maybe. But yeah, we already have a Flip.
Or just Coach D Flip?
No, that's
say
terrible.
D-Flip?
That's awful.
DiFilippo.
JDF is better. So yeah, that might have impacted his play calling. But I still think that like ultimately, so Cousins had like some great moments, 2 throws for touchdowns that were like, I mean, just incredible, right? Like unbelievable. Like really, like this is kind of, why you would spend so much money on a quarterback versus like taking your chances in the draft or getting Case Keenum back. Or
That touchdown
like
throw
that.
to Diggs.
That's stuff that I don't think Keenum can do on a regular basis, and it's something I think Cousins can do on a regular basis. I mean, both touchdown passes, because both, like to
Right
Rudolph
there.
and to Diggs, like both of them were perfectly
Arif, why do you have to be so rude to Case Keenum? He had a great season last year. Why are you celebrating Case Keenum interceptions? Thrice?
Yeah, well, I mean, he also had the 3 touchdowns, right? And a win.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, like 8 straight incompletions at the end of the game.
Didn't like that.
His best play in the fourth quarter was a 4-yard run on 3rd and 5. Like, that's not great.
Right. Also, not great. His head first little YOLO.
I'm fine with it, actually. The situational dive.
I thought it was hilarious that it was like Elijah Lee.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I was dying.
But I mean, like, when I go back and watch the game,
And Zimmer's fine with it, too.
Do you really feel like in that situation that was a necessary risk he needed to take, though?
Yeah.
Given the situation of what the game was?
Yeah, because if they get that 3rd down, they can seal the game. The 49ers were 1 drive away from winning. Like, so yeah.
Will we see that again throughout the season, or is that to kind of rally?
Another stupid dive from Kirk Cousins? Yes.
I think
how often?
So here's
every other week.
Here's one thing that I do want to point out, and I'm going to hurt my argument by beginning it with the name Christian Ponder, but Christian Ponder did point out that there's been some look into how often quarterbacks get injured. They're actually less likely, according to him, to get injured on dives than they are on slides. And so, yeah, you're exposing your quarterback to a possible concussion. Most head-first dives, you're not actually hitting a person. Like, that should be taken into account, too. Also, some quarterbacks should not slide. RG3 should never slide. Have you seen him slide?
Ever.
Also, he played baseball. How does that happen?
How is he so bad at sliding?
He was that fast. Wouldn't he ever have to slide?
I don't think that's the case.
Byron Buxton slid before.
It's like, why did Ken Griffey Jr. never have to have any Jim Edmonds type catches? Because he's fast enough to get to the ball, make it look routine.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the
Jim
ball
Edmonds
always
shot.
travels faster than the human.
Yeah.
So, some slides. Anyway, we'll find. I don't have a problem with it. Obviously, like, if a concussion happens on one of those things, like, I'll have to eat those words. But yeah, it's whatever. I'm fine with it. I think we saw kind of, not the lowest of lows for Cousins, because he didn't, like, throw a pick. But we saw some pretty low lows. I mean, he hit a defender on the jersey back of the jersey, thankfully, not the front. But like he had some like really poor ball placement on a bunch of passes. When he threw on the move, he threw way too high to Diggs. Like I'm glad that was a completion and stuff like that. But that was kind of reminiscent of Keenum. So
there was a pass I think to Adam Thielen where he just completely sailed it over the top.
To Diggs and Thielen deep. Yeah, overthrows. Yeah. So I wouldn't say that like I'm coming out of the game feeling super confident about Cousins, but I am coming out of the game, knowing or reinforcing the idea that the Vikings made the right decision, right? Like I think he demonstrated a lot of good things.
Would you say that he did a good job taking care of the football in this game? Because again, I think due to like you're saying, some certain throws were. I mean, there were how many interceptable balls in this last game?
I mean, it depends on how you define interceptable.
Kian's back. Let's ask him.
Right. If you define interceptable as like the defender ended up with the opportunity to haul it in, then no. But if you define interceptable as like, then he had none. But if you define interceptable as like that throw typically gets picked off, probably in the NFL. I don't know, maybe 3? But, I mean, that probably sounds worse than... Most of the time when we say interceptable balls, we're saying he should have this many interceptions. And that's, not really true based off of what we saw.
Yeah.
So, it's difficult to say. But, yeah, I'm coming away thinking Kirk Cousins looked like an above-average quarterback that showcased some of his weaknesses.
Yeah,
also, the defense, amazing. Oh, my God. Line. Holy crap.
Yeah, let's get into, Jimmy G, his stat line, 15 of 33, 261. A touchdown, 3 picks, 3 sacks, and a 10.6 QBR. Now, the whole national narrative, from what I've seen, was that, Jimmy Garoppolo's going to have a bad day, but I think it was more playing on the road against his frickin' defense. Come on. Sheldon Richardson, come on, baby. Lock him up now.
Dude, not just Sheldon, though.
10-year extension.
Yeah. Hunter, oh my.
Hunter looked amazing.
I had a lot of friends that last year thought Hunter was going to have, 15 sacks and just take over the NFL.
Yeah,
Didn't have that.
That was me.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them. There's a lot of you.
No, he said friends.
Right.
Damn it.
Sorry,
Rat.
You're out.
Details.
There. I think last year maybe we were hoping for that year a little too early. It's coming this year. I mean, I watched Hunter, just the motor, the hustle, but the physicalness,
the strength. Oh my goodness, was
everybody assumes, if you don't watch a lot of Viking football, that he's just great pass rusher. Unbelievable in the running game, and mix Sheldon in with that. Linval, I think, is still the biggest catalyst of the entire defense. The way he obviously soaks everything up and helps them stop the run first, because without that, a lot of these guys aren't able to make their plays in the back end. Talk about like a Mike Hughes type of pick six, Rhodes, Harry, all those guys. But it's the rotation, man. It's just four guys. I don't think we necessarily have that fifth defensive end that can come in, fifth defensive lineman as a third defensive end, like we did back in the Jared Allen, B-Rob, and then Everson would come in. But I think the starting 4 and what they're doing with Anthony Barr, Anthony Barr out in training camp was with the DNs a lot of the early ongoing. So clearly they want to use him as that kind of fifth end or that pass rusher. So yeah, I think it's unbelievable.
Yeah, to piggyback off of the Hunter point, you talked about his strength. One play that really stood out to me was in the red zone. I think it was pretty close to the goal line. Alfred Morris was going on to try to get a first down or whatever, and Hunter comes in and he just yanks him backwards, where you've seen a lot of plays where defenders allow the guy to get a yard or two more because he dives forward. But just watching that play right there, you just watch Hunter just drag him backwards and
look at where he's coming from.
Exactly.
The hustle that he has to have to come on one more, but the hustle that he has to have to come back and do that was just unbelievable. Yeah. It's the motor. It's the whole thing, man. It's just unbelievable. Yeah. Really fun to watch.
Sticking with the D-line and about that much-fabled defensive line rotation. First time in the Zimmer era that they've dressed and played 8 defensive linemen. Now, snaps-wise, Daniil was above his average last year, played 88%. Everson was about on par. Linval played a little bit more, but I think that's more of a function of game script and also the 49ers playing in some heavy sets. But you look at Jaleel, 22 snaps out of 66 on defense. David Perry with his stupid stance, 14 out of 66. Weatherly, 14. Bauer, 9. And there was times late second quarter where they were rotated all 4 out, and then Andre Patterson get yelled at.
That was copycat Philadelphia Eagles who would roll 40 ends or 40 Ts. The Weatherly snap count surprised the hell out of me.
14?
Yeah, that surprised that. I thought clearly Bauer was their guy going in. Bauer still got 9, but to see Weatherly, unless there is something that they really liked matchup-wise about Weatherly, and I've been the biggest Weatherly supporter coming in when he got drafted out of Vanderbilt, just as far as could be a great 7th round type of production type of player, but we just haven't seen a lot of him in the rotation. All of a sudden, he gets 14 snaps. Surprised the hell out of me, but fun to see. Yeah, they think they're still working like every team is. I think they're still working with their combinations, their different sets, their different looks that they want to use, and trying to see who's going to fit in where with what scheme and kind of what formation. Jaleel Johnson, I don't know about you guys, didn't really do too much for me. Didn't splash a whole ton, but again, when you got 4 or 5 other guys splashing on nearly every play, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I don't know that I would like. It's. I guess it's like just not important to me how those players did, just because they had so few snaps.
Right.
That it's like difficult for me to be like, he had a good game. Yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah, I mean, Jaleel Johnson probably didn't flash too much, but I think the thing is, I think all 4 of those players can do really well when they sub in one at a time, right? So if you've got, Stephen Weatherly or Tashawn Bauer in for Danielle Hunter with the rest of that
threes,
line there, I think that they can shine pretty well, which is kind of really what their job is.
Right.
If one of them gets injured, that's kind of the primary role they'll be performing. And I think if you just kind of successively rotate throughout the line instead of doing a full 4 line rotation, I think you'll end up seeing the benefits of resting your players, plus seeing your production not dip too much, because all 4 of those players, I think we all agree that they've got a lot of talent. It's not as maybe deep as the Philadelphia defensive line, but I think it's deeper than most defensive lines around the league, and I would put up those 4 probably up against most backup defensive lines. Right. So if you individually sub in like Jaleel Johnson or even David Perry, who had a great preseason, for their respective positions while the rest of the line mates are there, I think you'll see pretty good production from them. So it was weird.
Makes sense.
Right.
You get to play next to 2 or 3 other Pro Bowlers. Probably going to be pretty good.
All right, so looking back at last year, Everson played a shade over 79% of the snaps. Danielle about 77.5%. Over under for both of them.
Sorry, say it again one more time, the stats?
Under for both of them.
Under for both of them. So Everson 79, Danielle 77.5.
Unless you mean specifically in this game, in which case I think I already know the answer. But like for the season,
for the season.
Yeah.
For the season, yeah.
Boy, I think they'll be both pretty close to that. Maybe you lean under a little bit, just because I know they want to really use the rotation. But
Yinka?
Seems pretty close.
I'll go under. Which I think is okay. I kind of expected them to be right around there, and I think that speaks to more of the ability to not have to play them nearly as much.
I think Danielle will be over. I hope Everson is under, because he's going to be 31 in December. I think he's at the point where you want to either you can run him into the ground and he can be at an elite level for 2 more years, or you can sort of save the tread on the tire. You can extend it out to 3 or 4. I think that's where the Vikings are currently at. Also, where we're at is week 2 of the football season, which means a second shot at victory. Number 2, bragging rights, huge cash prizes up for grabs all season long at DraftKings, the leader in one-week fantasy sports. This weekend, DraftKings is over $2 million in total prizes, and you can play free with your first deposit to compete for your share. With one-week fantasy at DraftKings, you choose when to play. Well, I mean, you have to play on the weekend, but you know what I mean. Draft a new team every week with no season-long commitment, because, I mean, your season-long fantasy team is just terrible anyways. Because nothing makes football Sunday more exciting than when you have a DraftKings lineup on the line. Download the app or go to DraftKings.com. Now, use code COVERAGE to enter a contest for free this weekend with your first deposit and compete for your share of over $2 million in total prizes. Let's go coverage only at DraftKings. The game inside the game. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. All right, so we got to talk about Harrison frickin' Smith.
Dude.
NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Eat some crow. Eat a big pile of whatever, Khalil Mack, because apparently I have to play 2 halves to secure It's okay. 8 tackles,
I
sack.
mean, he was second. I mean, he did fine.
There's no way to know if he was second in the voting. 8 tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, pass defended, fumble recovery, game-sealing interception, as well as just completely submarining a 330-pound nose tackle fullback. Like, what is up?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like he does that once a game.
But he gave up the touchdown to Kittle, so it was an average game by number 22.
Yikes.
That is all. I mean, we're spoiled by Harrison Smith. We're picking nits.
I mean, he did script coverage a couple of times. Like, it wasn't just the one touchdown.
But that's on brand.
But yeah, I mean, like I would say that he had the biggest positive impact of nearly any player in the NFC.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for him to win the award. I would also say that at the same time, he probably didn't even play up to his own standards because he did screw up in coverage a couple of times. Like, it wasn't just the one touchdown, although also the one touchdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, giving it to Harrison Smith, I mean, you have to pick nits because that's where we are with him. And so, yeah, maybe he didn't play like an average player, and so focusing on nitpicking is like, gives us the impression that
it's like
an average
when
player.
Manny's dessert menu starts slipping. Like,
Yeah, right,
we
yeah,
expect more.
Yeah. That might be a decent way to put it. It's probably more impactful than that. The thing about, like, let's say PFF grading, like, because this is where, like, the thing is. So, and I actually had a conversation with PFF. So their plus-minus grades are different than...
It's called the 1-800 number? Or?
I mean, like,
Operator, give me PFF.
I know
Cincinnati area code.
Right. I know a guy. You know a guy. We know the same guy.
Oh, yeah.
I can vouch. He's a guy.
Yeah, he's a guy.
He's a guy.
I talked to
Nice
some
guy.
people at PFF, including that one guy, and the plus-minus grades are different than the like Madden rating grades that they show us, and his plus-minus grade is actually probably better than the Madden rating grade. I love it. I think it's
I want
way
to know
better.
when someone's bad. I want them to have a -7, not like a 60. Because is this good? I don't know.
Right, I agree,
Yeah.
and I tell them this every week.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't believe I'm forced to use the inferior 2.0 statistics instead of the superior 1.00 statistics. And they're like, Arif, we know you've told us this every week. And I was like, it's only
try to
week 1 of the
block a
regular
number, be
season,
like, this is
baby.
my
Let's
girlfriend's
go.
phone.
Yeah, right. So, like, his Madden PFF grade is like 57 or something like that. It's not great. His plus-minus grade is above 0.
Yeah.
Like, he had an above-average game. There's no question about that.
That's also weird because Harrison, everything sort of baked into the cake, and he set the highest graded safety last year or defensive player.
Yeah. Highest graded defensive player. And it's the first time I think it's been a safety, so he's the highest graded safety in like the history of the grading.
Take that, Jamal Stevenson. Wait, no.
Jamal Adams?
Jamal Adams?
No, the Stevenson offensive tackle for the Chiefs. They named an award after him. Donald Stevenson.
Lance Stevenson.
Donald Stevenson,
Yeah.
the center for the Dolphins.
Okay, yeah, Jamal Stevenson is like director of college scouting. Anyway,
Yeah.
for the Vikings. Go ahead.
Take that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also there's one thing to keep in mind is that there's a cap to how positive plays can get graded and a floor to how negative plays can get graded. So like a pick to seal the game has like a win percentage probability addition of like 20%, right? It's huge, right, in terms of impact, but in terms of grade, it's relatively small. And in terms of predicting future success, that makes sense.
You can move your mic away from your mouth. You sound like Darth Vader.
I can't hear anything at all.
No, it
Just
was.
turn it up then.
Yeah.
Is it
No,
can you
point
hear
is
now?
not to
Do we not have a producer?
Right.
Dude, he doesn't know that you can't hear anything.
He has the mic.
No,
on.
that was actually pretty hot. It was like a Bill O'Reilly phone call.
I didn't know it was that hot.
He also, Nick is also wearing one headphone.
All right, now, sticking in the secondary, Mike Hughes made his debut. So Mackenzie Alexander knew that Hughes was going to be in the slot, and then Trey Waynes, after a pretty nice breakup in the end zone, after giving up a 3rd and 7 to Pierre Garçon, whatever, Hughes comes in, plays some outside slot, gets that pick 6, we know. Ended up with 3 tackles, 3 passes broken up, down to punt at the 4, broke up a touchdown to Garçon as well, but also got picked on a little bit. Dante Pettis stole his lunch a couple times, but I think overall, up and down, but a nice debut for 21.
I was more impressed the fact that they had no issues or qualms throwing him on the inside or the outside. For his first game, we heard about Zimmer saying how impressed he was for a rookie to come into his defense and be up to speed as quickly as he is. But then he went out and proved it. He threw out a rookie game one in a pretty tight game, both on the outside and the inside, and the kid played great. I mean, all things considering, the kid played great. I thought, I will say this, I know some people had Dante Pettis as their number one receiver coming out of this class.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, now you just sound like Brad Kelly. Friend of the program, Brad Kelly.
And he looks, what's up, Brad? He looks the part of an NFL receiver.
Yeah.
He looked really good.
Except
He
for the
flashed,
really good
he flashed some stuff that goes,
I mean, he got open
wow.
against Xavier Rhodes a couple of times.
Yeah,
Exactly, dude. And his first
Xavier
game.
Rhodes' pick, actually, I think, was a good example of Dante Pettis' route running. I thought he did a good job there
Absolutely.
to get open, and Jimmy just put the ball in the wrong spot.
Absolutely. Yep. No, it was. It's almost like Trey Waynes' game-sealing interception week 2, 2 years ago, when Devontae Adams, was it Adams? Yeah. He put a double move on him and kind of beat Waynes too badly.
Oh, I love that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Xavier can't catch an interception that's right in both of the hands, but he can do
He
like
can
the
do the
one-handed behind the
one-handed.
back.
Yeah.
His
What, like,
interceptions
bounced
would be-
off his, like, bicep? And
Yeah.
take,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, right.
Harry had one against Brett Hundley last year in week 12, 13, 14,
Just-
where like
just snatched it out of the
Superman
air.
dive, it hit his hand, and then as he was falling, like caught it like like an egg about to crack or something. Just froze it right here, and then just caught it. I'm like, Harry,
Physics are weird.
Diverting off,
that.
speaking of hands, what do we think of the Stephon Diggs Sticky Hands Geico commercial?
Pretty
I loved
good.
it.
Apparently,
I loved
it's
it.
overplayed.
Yeah.
But I like it a lot.
I love
and
that.
I don't have to worry about overwatching.
I was going to talk
so.
about overplay commercials, except we don't want to throw over advertising under the bus. Remember a couple years ago, though?
what was that again?
Oh, yeah.
What-
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was pretty intense.
Yeah, we'll just leave it like that.
We'll say
but, that. Hughes had a pretty decent debut, and then all
conversation.
yeah.
Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Then all Blue Door conversation. Then all of a sudden, you go to the practice report on Wednesday. All of a sudden, Mac Alexander and Trey Waynes fully healthy, full participants. It's like, it's kind of weird.
Well, crazy.
Mac had to be bumming a little bit.
I know. Well, when we were talking about like Hughes, it was kind of reminiscent of how there are a lot of people who really felt as far as Trey Waynes, like Zim doesn't really like to play these guys, give him all these different inside outside different things he has to do, and then we have 4 years later we have number one our first round pick corner out there playing both nickel and playing on the outside. So I mean, if you can play, especially when it comes to Zimmer's defense, you're going to be on the field, and you're going to be on the field right away. He'll find a way to use you. So
this was definitely. You remember when you were drafting in Madden and you could tell, like, okay, this is the receiver class.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's clearly like 7 or 8 guys that are just awesome. This was the cornerback class. There was so much talent at cornerback, from Denzel Ward, Jair Alexander, Josh Jackson, Mike Hughes, all the way to guys like, good depth. Carlton Davis, MJ Stewart, and there's a plethora of other ones. But I think that it just goes to show you, even though a lot of people gripe that we didn't take an offensive lineman, maybe even reach for an offensive lineman, considering Billy Price went early, Frank Ragnow went early. I mean, there was a run on them.
Ragnow did not have
he did not look good. He did not look good. I expected him to be fine, but he did not look good at all. So goes to show you what great value we really did. I think in any other draft, Hughes is a top 15 pick.
You're kind of making the opposite argument, though, I think.
What do you mean?
I mean, Josh Jackson was there. They could have just waited to get him, right?
Josh Jackson... Oh, in the second round?
Yeah, so you may be
I
making
like
the
the
opposite
depth,
argument, right? Because
I like the depth, yeah.
Because the available cornerbacks, because it's the cornerback class, the available cornerbacks might have been so many, right, that they could have waited just a little bit.
The depth and value was there.
And grabbed the guard that they wanted. Like, who knows? You might be making the opposite argument.
Well, but at a certain point, though, when they go best available on the board, maybe Hughes is gone, and they would have taken Josh Jackson. But at a certain point, when that's the top guy on your board, you're not going to try to wait and see, okay, maybe we can risk it. That's 30 more picks. Mike Hughes, I'm trying to say, that was probably a top 15 guy in another draft that wasn't so loaded in cornerbacks. I know you kind of know what I'm saying.
Was Josh Jackson available during
that's a big risk to try to wait.
I don't know that Josh Jackson was available for that specific pick, but I mean, like, if you really want a cornerback, I think because the Vikings ran out of guards to trade up for in the second round after Connor Williams went.
Yeah, who dodged a bullet there. Oof.
I think Josh Jackson. Well, it's been a game.
Did he look that bad?
Don't worry about it. No, we already got the hot. Hey, did you see the headlines? The Browns and Giants already regret passing on Sam Darnold.
Wait,
written down.
Okay.
Yeah.
If anything,
Darnold
to
did not
that
actually have that good a game.
to that argument, though, I always think about the Browns and the fact that Denzel Ward's going to be really good. But they're the team that I think about taking Nick Chubb, and I can't remember the other second-round pick off the top of my head, that could have stole a Josh Jackson the second and got a Quentin Nelson or Bradley Chubb type of player, or even not reached, but got a Derwin James or somebody else. That's the one team that I think about with all those picks. And Nick Chubb, I mean, don't get me wrong, Nick Chubb could be solid, but they already had Carlos Hyde. They love Duke Johnson. I think there's a third guy in the mix as well. And I'm just not huge on taking running back super early. So I think the Browns, if anything, in that case that you're saying, does make sense.
Bring it back to the Vikings and put a pin on the Niners game. So Sheldon frickin' Richardson.
Oh, my goodness.
Coming in,
He
just wrecking fools. Had a hand in 2 out of the 3 sacks. Just really getting interior pressure, setting things up for the DNs, making life easy. Also, had another sack of Daniil's called back on penalty, but he was a big part of that too. But nice little debut for good old number 93. Also retired 93.
Nice to have like that really starting caliber defensive tackle, and you're going to really get to see how much of an impact not only Sheldon Richardson will be able to do, but how much he's just going to free up Linval Joseph. And we're really going to get to see, over the last couple of years, I think Linval has actually improved as a pass rusher, an interior pass rusher, and just having Sheldon Richardson, which I was a little worried, obviously, after the few preseason games where it did feel like he wasn't putting as much effort as I thought he could be. But game 1, I'm very impressed. I'm not saying giving this man a contract right now, but a couple more games like that, and I'm like, yeah.
Let's not dismiss the idea.
I know, right?
Quick poll. You got to have one. You got to get rid of one. Sheldon or Barr. After game 1.
After one.
Knee jerk say Sheldon, but just thinking about
the answer is Wayne's.
Wow.
Get his contract off the books. You have space for both.
and Kyle Rudolph.
Oh, you're saying not keep Waynes and get him off the book.
No, get rid of Wayne's.
Yeah.
Wayne's was
you said
always-
Wayne, so I thought you meant sign Wayne.
And then you can keep both.
Absolutely love that idea.
Here's the whole thing about the either or
Absolutely
thing. Like,
love that
it's
idea.
good for talkers and stuff, but if the Vikings really do want to keep both, I mean,
Wayne's
we got Rob Brzezinski. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's true
come on.
too.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
But
A wizard.
you're going to have to let go of Wayne's, though. And that's fine with this depth. It's totally fine. I mean, Holton Hill's already getting snaps, huh?
But
where's
Holton
that
Hill was getting snaps mostly because of injury.
Yeah, well, Mack was gone.
And then also got
Waynes
cooked
was
on a 3rd and
gone.
7, so it was like, go back
But jumping back to Sheldon, I think, you know what I think about the most with just watching him dominate with that starting 3 rotation next to him? This is supposed to be Sharif Floyd. This was supposed to be Sharif
Too
Floyd.
soon.
Yeah. And it just makes you think, man.
He did look like an old Sharif Floyd out there.
do you have any 06 Dante takes for us?
Not too soon, dude. No, that's too soon.
Yeah.
Boy, if Floyd has been out there the past 2-3 years, man, what could have been? But I mean, injuries happen to everybody.
Yeah, but then we
everybody.
Then we
So I'm
don't
not worried
get Tom Johnson.
Yeah, TJ. Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, I have to tangent off of this because a tweet that's been sticking with me since Thursday. So Ben Baldwin, is he at Athletic Seattle?
Yeah. He's a contributor.
But he's a Seahawks guy. But he did a screenshot of Sarkisian and the stupid Falcons running into 11-man box, and the tweet was running into 11-man box to own the libs.
Yeah, that was so good.
Own the limbs.
Own the libs.
Ever since for like a whole week, I've been laughing about that. Just
It's
at
so
random
funny.
times.
Also, have you seen the Photoshop of Trubisky to Burton?
Yes.
Oh my God! Where
Or
they just
not to
empty
Burton?
the rest of the field.
Yeah.
Wait, is that a Photoshop
Well, so
or is that real?
so there's a screenshot, right,
Okay.
of Burton being open. Yeah, to not Burton.
Yeah.
Of Burton being open, and it's like freaking Moses parting the Red Sea. It's like a straight shot, and at the time of the screenshot, Clinton Dix does have the ability to kind of close down on it. But if you watch the video, I
on
mean,
the
he
left
is,
side,
yeah,
the left defender, correct.
But if we know about his issues looking to the left. But
that was great, dude. You got 10 minutes of fame,
Twitter
dude.
moment, right?
That was so cool.
But I mean, if you watch the video, there is a moment where he gets open and Clinton Dix doesn't have the time to close down on it. So it's effectively the same. But Justice Mosqueda photoshopped away all of the other players, so it's just an empty field.
It's so
good
because it's just that wild that he didn't throw that pass.
Yeah, it
really is.
crazy.
That's what's crazy about. I mean,
and he
really,
ends up throwing it to a running back for -2 yards. Like that's just so amazing.
Well, yeah, let's dive into that game. So it was the Khalil Mack show early on, and then halftime happened. But here's the thing:
that's not Khalil Mack's fault, by the way. He played a really good game.
So you're the Bears against Aaron Rodgers at full strength. You're up 20-0. Then Rodgers goes down, and you still lose.
Dude,
Like how is that?
If I'm a fan, I'm going. If we can't beat them in a game like that, forget it.
Actually, apologies. They're up 13-0. Then Rodgers got hurt, and then Mack had the pick six and blah blah blah. But still,
right,
you know.
right.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, dude, if we can't beat them,
dude, he can't
move,
man.
Yeah,
With
which
Khalil
I
Mack.
think it's going to be a really good thing because now you can you can really focus on sending a lot more unique blitz packages. You don't have to worry about Rodgers escaping to the outside. DBs are going to get to play a lot more press on the wide receivers because you don't really just jam at the line and just make them really frustrated at the line of scrimmage. And the fact that you don't have to worry about Aaron Rodgers escaping and then wide receivers, getting to those boundaries and stuff. I think this is going to be a fantastic game for Vikings edge rushers specifically. They're really going to be able to get home because Rodgers is not going to be able to get outside of them.
But let's circle around to the Bears 1 second. So adding Khalil Mack, great debut.
Oh yeah,
that defense is going to be legit. Vic Fangio, etc. But they are not ready for prime time. Like I think they'll fare better than the Lions this year, but we'll see. But Mitchell Trubisky, no,
hesitant,
just no,
just really just look like all of a sudden you got a year under your belt. Well, why does it look like the lights are a little too bright right now? Just very hesitant.
It was pretty weird.
It was weird.
Now,
I'm not
saying 2000s Ravens,
season, but
not saying 2000 Ravens, but we're in that same vein. Of you have a great defense and the offense is just inept, and you have a decent running back.
Great defense, I think, is yet to be seen.
Yeah, but diet version.
But yeah.
I don't know. They got some. I mean, Jordan Howard. I'm a big fan of Tariq Cohen. Their offensive line's not horrible. Kyle Long, James Daniels this year. They signed Allen Robbins, who when healthy, top 10 receiver. Nobody's going to argue that.
Yeah,
so
Mitch's got to keep that ish in bounds, though.
Yeah, they got potential there. They got the talent. But, yeah, Trubisky, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think Arif might have called that one last year. I don't see it. Which would be great.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Something you should call into is, have you ever looked at your credit card statement and been shocked by the interest rate? Or do you just not look? Because that works too. Did you know you could actually roll all of your credit card debt into one monthly payment at a lower fixed rate? Lightstream offers credit cards consolidation loans from 5.89% APR with autopay. Whew. That's low. That's lower than the average credit card interest rate of over 18% APR. If you're lucky, get a loan of $5,000 to $100,000. It's a lot. And you can get your funds as soon as the day you apply because Lightstream believes that people with good credit deserve a great interest rate and no fees. Tom has done it himself. He's rolled it in, loves Lightstream services, and now he's got his life back. Look at him. He's just so joyous, even though he never wears shorts.
I do wear shorts.
And now my listeners can get a special discount on top of Lightstream's already low rates. The only way to get this discount is go to lightstream.com/thezone. Not to be confused with Pizzone, which is atrocious, by the way. That's lightstream.com/thezone, subject to credit approval. Rate includes a 0.5% autopay discount. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/thezone for more information. So with Rodgers, I noticed this. So I looked up this tweet, and a revelation. Tom Pelissero has never liked a tweet.
What?
Yeah. It's a blank. It's a blank space. It's a blank space, baby, right there.
Wow.
But Pelissero tweeted this out half an hour ago because everyone's pretty pithy. We've seen the pictures of Rodgers post game with the interview. It was like, I don't know, something. So he, Pelissero replied that since people apparently are going to keep sending these replies, I'll point out Rodgers said he did not take any paid meds Sunday, is not a big believer in opioids, etc. So clean as sober as a judge.
Lion ass.
Toradol an opioid?
Right.
No. I'm just saying if he doesn't believe in opioids, I mean, there's options available.
He had a Brett Favre accent, people.
That was so weird, man.
Like
Money!
money. I'm like,
It's the biggest smile on his face.
Oh, well,
ever,
I just had to get out there. Didn't want to let the
What was
boys
it?
down.
Money.
What hurt so much? Oh, my knee.
money. You know,
So
sometimes-
pumped to say it, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, here's the conspiracy theory. I'm going to float again. I think Rodgers, he did bang up his knee a little bit. It wasn't as serious as was played out, but I also think he had a concussion on
Yeah,
that play.
concussion.
Oh, wait. Didn't this happen before where somebody... Well, so he did end up having a knee injury, but somebody else faked a knee injury
Hines
to
Ward?
hide.
Was that the one you brought up?
Yeah, I point out because Hines Ward, I think
Which,
it was on
like,
Dan
the idea of
Patrick's show.
Hines Ward not having a concussion is like...
Right.
Yeah.
He must get a concussion on every play.
Yeah.
2 years ago, he was on Dan Patrick saying that whenever he got banged in the head, thought he might have had a concussion, he would just grab his ankle or grab a knee, which is smart. And I'm sure a lot of players actually do this because with concussion protocol, you can't skip through it unless you're Russ for some reason. And
Holy water, man.
yeah, like if
What, it was micro bubbles, right? It was the
Nanobubbles.
Nanobubbles. Yes.
no, like him going around just saying people with concussions, yeah, just drink water. It's like, oh, thanks, Russell. We didn't think about that. No way.
I hope nanobubbles. Never mind. I'm not
But
gonna make
if
that
Rodgers
joke.
was in concussion protocol, he probably doesn't make it back for that game at all. But hey, if it's knee, the knee is fine. All of a sudden, back. See, if he didn't take any opioids or Toradol or
didn't
anything
he,
like that,
didn't he stay off that leg the whole?
yeah, you got to
yeah,
sell it.
I mean, he barely stepped. He was
No, but
playing
he
one
did
leg.
end up having a sprain. I mean, like, he's in
Yeah.
the rehab group for the Packers right now. He did have a
Yeah.
sprain,
Yeah.
which is, I think, a grade 1 tear. So
That's,
it
that's part
actually
of my
happened.
conspiracy, that he did have that knee banged up. You saw number 95 falling on that knee, but also I think he had a concussion.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
which could explain the moon face look at the end of the game.
He was so high.
Does it explain the accent?
Maybe that's
you
just
get a
troll
southern
joke.
It was a
when
really,
you're-
once you think about it, it was kind of a long, drawn-out, kind of sloppy 3-minute interview. Like, he was saying a lot of words, but really wasn't saying too much.
Yeah. Aaron, how do you feel right now? Concussed. Oh, sorry. Concussed. Yeah, there we go. Any other games that you guys enjoyed on Sunday?
I'm just flipping through some of them. The Tampa-New Orleans game was the shocker.
insane.
That game was drunk. That game was amazing.
That's a great way to put that. That game was unbelievable. Back and forth they go.
Saints ended up coming back,
Shootout at
too.
the OK Corral, and you knew Drew Brees was going to at least
course.
put up a fight.
No, see,
They come
this is
back
great
by-
because
lose by
Saints
a
having a
touchdown.
defense I was not on board with, because these are the sort of games that need to happen in the Superdome every single week.
Exactly.
Shooting
No,
back
that
and
was
forth.
nuts. Fun to see Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid doing their thing. I thought they
week one champions
flashed
every year.
some explosive.
Browns and Steelers ending in a tie.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was a fun game.
Best way for Browns to break the losing streak, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
I forgot-
It's a Hugh Jackson win.
No, I forgot who tweeted this up, but it's their best starts in so far.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing. It
That
like,
was so
Browns
funny.
have been involved in like 4 ties in the whole franchise career, and 2 of them, I can't remember what it was.
No, but Fitz tragic, 21-28, 417, 4 touchdowns, ran for a
Crazy.
touchdown. Like someone won like the Millionaire Maker on DraftKings. He won like $500,000, and their quarterback was Fitz tragic.
I mean, you got to think about the
He's making
variables.
dreams
Like,
come true.
well, they're probably going to be passing a lot.
Yeah.
I would assume my thought when I thought about maybe finding him as a cheap value play. They're going to be playing from behind. He's going to be throwing a lot in a dome. He's got some weapons. But then I was like, I thought the Saints D would show up. I just got scared off. I was like, Saints D's too good, right?
Yeah, imagine not starting Mike Evans. Imagine drafting Mike Evans in like the 3rd round and be like, well, he's got Lattimore. He's struggling against Lattimore. He's got Fitz tragic. I'm going to sit him.
Just flipping through some other games. Did Case Keenum have a game?
He had a game.
He had a second half of a game.
Beat Seattle at home?
He had half
Well,
the
no,
game.
Von
You
Miller.
got to win. What?
Von Miller had himself a ball
Did
game.
he?
Yeah. 3 sacks, including a strip sack. A la Khalil Mack just taking the ball away from the QB. No big deal.
Bill's going to be the worst team in the league?
Well,
Yeah.
Well, they're at least going to start 0-3.
And what about Oakland? Isn't Oakland in that conversation?
Oakland, I guarantee you, Oakland
Maybe.
doesn't win more than 5 games.
I mean,
Bills are worse though.
Bills are
the
far
Bills are worse. I think
Yeah.
Oakland's going to get some of that back. But, yeah, I mean, they're not good.
Feel like
They're
they've
not going to
already
go like 8-8.
feel like they've already been like, dude.
You know what it
this
is?
not. Or it's a rebuild year for Gruden stockpiling all these picks.
Khalil
Did
Mack
they
didn't want to be
re-sign
there.
Martavis?
That's why.
Yeah, they
They
did.
want to be there.
They just wanted to avoid that
Fully guaranteed
contract.
contract when they know he's probably going to be suspended.
Except, how did they know he's going to clear waivers?
because no one's going to touch him.
Those crazy fools.
No one's going to
gamblers.
Yeah, they knew that he wasn't going to get touched. The fact that he might get suspended.
Yeah. Let's see what else? Lions. I know it's probably just an anomaly, but they did not look great.
Yeah.
Well, they had a great first play, and of course, as the owner of the Jets defense or the Lions defensive fantasy, I was like, all right, here we go, and then
Not good.
yeah. But Darnold, I know he's getting a lot of the early hype, but I thought he played okay.
He was all right.
He was okay. Yeah,
I mean, that's the best word.
I mean,
he was okay.
Hey, first game of your football career on a primetime stage. I mean, I wasn't expecting a ton. I thought. Yeah, I thought there was a lot of stuff to build off of.
It is nice to see that we're kind of stepping into this new era of, some of these younger quarterbacks. It's Trubisky, Mahomes, Darnold.
I like that you listed Trubisky first.
Just the one that thought of first. But it's nice. You're getting some fresh blood. You're getting some new starting quarterbacks. And, eventually Brady and Breeze will retire, and we're not talking about the same quarterbacks every single year.
Can you imagine when Rivers... Breeze, Brady,
Rodgers,
Roethlisberger. I feel like Rodgers is going to play another 10 years, dude.
Yeah, Brady will probably play.
Those guys, and they're close. I think they are.
They're very. Well, Ben was talking about retirement last season, so
I feel like that's what they do. But
all right, so here's a mean-spirited poll: who plays longer, Aaron Rodgers, who turns 35 in December, or Mitch Trubisky?
Aaron Rodgers just turned.
Wow, he's going to turn 35 in December.
Is this who
Rodgers.
makes active starts
Rodgers?
or who is on a roster longer?
That's true. Because
active
Trubisky
starts.
could be. I'd say Rodgers.
Yeah, it could be Rodgers. I guess Trubisky would bounce around.
I mean, we found out what Rodgers looks like when he's like old and busted. We got a little preview, and it turns out it's still really good. So, he could play till he's 40.
There you go. Let's dive into that Packers preview where Rodgers even on peg leg, and then Zimmer essentially calling him Jesus, which
walks on water.
Walks on water.
Yeah.
Cool. We get it. Zim. Neat. Of course, everyone's saying nice things, but defensively. I'm happy that we get the Packers at Lambeau early. Weather one. Also, it's going to take some time for that Pettin defense where they're banged up at inside linebacker. Clay Matthews ain't what he used to be. And, Jair and Josh are just still figuring out in the secondary where it's like you can still get to this defense before they start getting good. Yes.
I mean, so I'm worried about that defense because I think Mike Pettin's an incredible coordinator.
Oh, yes.
Right?
A better coordinator than he is head coach, for sure.
Well, that's not really the bar we're looking for here. And there's a ton of talent in that defense.
Well,
so.
I mean, with Pettin in Cleveland, his offense coordinator let him down. JDF revenge game.
It is a JDF revenge game.
Yeah.
Look at what you made me do. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of talent. So you get Jair and Josh. You could revive Clinton Dix's career. We know he has a lot of talent. Mm-hmm. You've got Neal up front. You've got Kenny Clark. You've got Mike Daniels.
Daniels just
there's a bunch going on there. So.
Yeah.
2 firsts next year now to play with. I mean, they two great corners they just added. Sounds like. Tell me if you guys have watched more of Kevin King than I have, but sounds like Kevin King is trending down.
Yeah, I would say so.
Just not really living up to. I mean, you draft the kid out of Washington, very physical, but 6'3", long, lanky, hoping to get that Richard Sherman type of guy, and it just doesn't seem like you can recreate a Richard Sherman just because he's 6'3", big, long, and lanky. It just doesn't seem like it's working yet.
Not yet.
He's hurt right now too. He's dealing with a shoulder thing too. So I don't know.
What's
Trending down.
What's your take on the Packers propaganda that came out today that saying that the Packers have a better defensive interior line than the Vikings? Now, I see their point, but also no.
It is funny that came out just because it was a Rob Domofsky article on ESPN asked a bunch of scouts about this matchup, and the scouts were like, "Oh yeah, the Vikings win everywhere but quarterback, like every position group except for quarterback." And the Packers were like, "What about the defensive line?" Which is I guess 2 for 8 instead of 1 for 8, I guess. But it's weird. But
it's like you do have 2 really good guys, but you're not really saying.
Well, so they mean interior defensive line too, right?
Yep.
And so I get it. You've got Neal, Daniels, and Kenny Clark, and And honestly, if it's the Sheldon Richardson we saw like in 2015 or 2016, I get the argument. But I mean, if it's the Sheldon Richardson we saw last year for Seattle or friggin' like last week, well, last week it wouldn't be close. But if it's like somewhere between there, like the Sheldon Richardson went to the Pro Bowl, yeah, I don't think it's particularly because Linval is better than all three of those guys at his specific job, and that's definitely not a knock on those guys because we've been complimenting them; they're good. But if Sheldon Richardson's that good, then yeah, the Vikings also have a better interior defensive line. But I get it, I get where it comes from because Richardson has had a couple of years where he's not been impressive. And last year he was really good, but he didn't stuff a stat sheet.
Oh, and in fairness, too, they should have gone to illogical extremes. Packers have better 3-4 outside linebackers than the Vikings. Vikings are trash in that department. And Clay has really fallen off a map and just starting to get a feel for the fan base. They're not really happy with 52.
I think they kept holding their breath, biting their tongue. It's still Clay Matthews. Was clearly the face of the D when they won on that Super Bowl run with Greg Jennings, everybody. But I think this could be it. I think they're sick of him. I think they're
love in
about
that
to get a
Super
little
Bowl,
frustrated.
Antonio Brown was wide receiver 5 for the Steelers. It was Mike Wallace, Hines Ward,
nuts.
2 other jabronis.
I do remember though when he was the clear-cut number 3 the next season or something.
Punt gunner. It's they had the choice between paying Antonio Brown and Mike Wallace in Pittsburgh. What are you doing? Mike Wallace was in The Dark Knight Rises, which is the worst one, but whatever. Imagine this. All right, so Gutekunst, the new Packers GM, is obviously trying to make his own stamp on the teams.
You're doing a pretty good job too.
Yeah. What if he pulled the trigger on Khalil Mack, added just that little extra bit of sugar that the Raiders needed, and got him, play him at 3-4 outside linebacker, kick Clay Matthews inside. They'd have to duel to the death who gets to wear number 52 or whatever.
I mean, obviously Clay would keep 52.
No. Have Khalil, since he's a linebacker now, linebackers now wear 40s, have him go back to the 46 in Buffalo.
I didn't even know he wore 46 in Buffalo. Yeah. What is wrong with you?
He wore 46 in Buffalo because that was his rating in NCAA football, the last year that they made it. His rating was 46, so that's why he adopted it.
Oh. Okay, that's a great story, actually. Yeah, fair enough. Linebackers should not wear 40 series numbers, so I am against it.
That's why you hate Ben Gedeon, besides coverage?
That's the reason.
Yeah.
Of all the linebacker numbers, I guess, of all the linebacker numbers in the 40 series, 42 is probably the best, right?
Hate 43, hate 41.
No, 44 is pretty good.
44.
No,
so
44
Greg Burke tier.
44 is definitely fullback.
Left side, strong side.
Fullback. 45 too, right? 45
is closer because there's a 5 there. That's closer to okay. But 42 has got to be.
I think 44 is underrated as the tailback number 2. Dalvin should have took 44.
I could, yeah. But it's more a fullback number to me.
Or Galloping Ghost.
We talk about jersey numbers way too much in this podcast.
Yeah, well, it's the offshoot of the numerology podcast. We're just trying to
bring it back.
Sow some seeds. We'll get final score predictions on the YouTube channel, so that's why you'll have to subscribe over there. Check out Zone Coverage Minnesota on the YouTube. But final thoughts: the Packers without Rodgers are basically an XFL team. Is that too far to say?
It's too far to say. I mean, that defense has a lot of pieces.
Offensively.
They're the Bills.
Yeah.
No, that's not fair. Devontae Adams is better than any receiver.
Devontae Adams is a top 12 wide receiver.
I think that's too far, but yeah.
It's always the chicken and the egg for
nitpicking too, right? Maybe he's top 15.
Yeah,
maybe for stud quarterbacks, it's always chicken or the egg for me. It's man, is this guy really that good, or is his quarterback making him look? That good. Devontae, and I know a lot of people say top 10. I hear top 10 all the time for Devontae. It's he's not bad. I know that, but it's is Aaron Rodgers?
It's like Nuke. Is it Ryan Mallett or is it Case Keenum or is it?
And now we know
Brandon Whedon.
Right. So
one of the rare cases of receiver.
So the Bills have 3 good players, right, on offense. Deion Dawkins, the tight end Clay Harbor, right? That's his name. It's not Charles Clay. It's Clay Harbor,
right?
No, it's Charles Clay.
Charles Clay.
Yeah, Clay Harbor's the Bachelorette guy.
Yeah, and then LaShawn McCoy.
Correct.
And
Kelvin Benjamin.
And then Bills fans told me to also count Patrick DeMarco the fullback. So fine, okay, cool.
Do you always listen to Bills fans? Like how to tailgate? Or
when they say,
etiquette?
I agree with you that the entire offense should not be in the NFL except these 3 players, let's add one more. Okay, fine.
Or how to deal with lake effect snow.
Yeah,
Why are
right,
houses in this part of town so much cheaper?
Yeah, so the Packers might have about as many. So, like, Jamal Williams, okay. Devontae Adams, fine. I guess Aaron Ripkowski. And David Bakhtiari. And that's, like, it, right?
Wait, is Ripkowski back?
I don't know. Is it Ripkowski?
Ram. Can't do it.
No, Ripkowski's a free agent.
I was going to say Randall Cobb, but
Oh, no, you can't do it.
couldn't do
Royal
it.
Blue.
It just couldn't.
Good effort. Good effort.
I tried.
Good work.
Now, we assume that Rodgers is going to tough it out and hobble out there.
Oh, he'll play. He's not missing that game.
Because if Kaiser plays, not to be overly confident, beating the chest, I think the Vikings cover the spread, which will probably be 10 at that point.
We've seen the Vikings screw up against a lot of backup quarterbacks.
Like who? Name one. Besides Scott Tolzien in the tie game.
And Matt Flynn. No, they didn't actually play Matt Flynn.
No,
right?
no.
Matt
Scott
Flynn,
Tolzien
but
was
it was
getting
like-
schooled. They played Matt Flynn the second half. Ended up being a tie.
That was yeah, okay.
Have
That's
we
fantastic.
in the Zimmer era? Have we seen him screw up against a backup?
How many
quarterback?
backup quarterbacks have played in Zimmer? This is a good question.
Well, they played Brock Osweiler and the Texans 2 years ago.
So no.
Yeah.
That one went weird. Brock Osweiler played better than he should have in that game, though.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know what he should have played?
I mean, we do have an accounting of his career at this point.
It's kind of weird that the Packers don't have a fullback right now. I feel like something's missing.
Did they not have Ripkowski?
Nah, they let him go.
Wow.
He's just hanging out there. I think he tried out. He tried out for the Patriots because.
Yeah. So replace Ripkowski with Aaron Jones because I forgot him. So they still have 4 good players. The Bills have 4 good offensive players. They basically all play the same position. Yeah, without Aaron Rodgers,
That's
they're the
rough.
Bills.
Yeah, that is rough. All right, so we're going to hop in hour 2. Open up the phone lines. We got a bunch of Twitter questions as well. And subscribe. Show's available on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, and also zonecoverage.com/machine. But for Luke and Arif and Yanka and Tom, I'm Andy saying, sorry, bye. Let's hour 2.